Hey, Leron here. If, like many, you struggle with colors, and especially colors of shadows or of dark elements, in today's video I want to show you a very simple and easy way to think about colors that will pretty much guarantee you always get a good result that is your own. The painting is going to feel like it's yours. Let's get to it. I have this car here. Subject matter doesn't really matter. What I'm gonna do is, subject matter doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna block it in real simple, okay? The goal here, we're going really rough. It doesn't have to be accurate. There we go. What I do care about is the division into parts. So I have this part, that's the top. I have the back, and I have the side. Now, of course, your drawing is not going to be as speedy and accurate as mine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to take your time, but the goal is, what I'm trying to show you today is so, and I'm going to have to skew the angle a bit, is so simplistic. It's just in how you think about colors. So when you look at this reference photo we have here, can you recognize some colors or some patterns? For example, if you look at the roof of the car compared to this window of the car, does it look different? Can you kind of make up colors? Well, you don't really have to know exactly what color to mix. What you do need to know is the relations of colors. The context matters. And if you compare these two, what can you probably say for sure? You can probably say that this part is warmer than this part, okay? This is a blue, it reflects the sky. The more you understand, by the way, the more you're gonna see. So if you understand this window is turned upwards towards the sky, it's gonna be bluer. If you understand that, you'll be able to recognize it better. And this reflects the building that's behind the car. And we're gonna focus just on the car today, so don't worry, we're gonna keep it simple, stupid, and we'll get to it. So, a warm roof for the car and a cooler back. Let's start mixing. Now, here's the trick to mixing. If and as long as you use few colors, your chances of hitting a color harmony pretty okay are high, okay? So if you're simply using the same kind of 3-4 colors, you'll probably do okay. And the fact I have green here on my palette is useful because it automatically neutralizes my warmth. But let's say I didn't even get the warmth to be accurate. Let's just place it down here like this, right? Okay, so this is what I recognize as warmth. And my wash is pretty wet. It's not like soaking wet, but it is quite wet, right? You can see some sheen there. If it's not wet enough, just go ahead, do yourself a favor. By the way, I'm lifting up my head from work. I've been so hardcore at the business side of things. I'm building a couple of really, sorry for the ambulance, really neat stuff for you. Now, before we get to that, I'm going to talk a bit about that later. Check it out. Just a cool. What cool is that? Shut up. What cool is that? What exact cool color is that? I don't know. I don't really care. But look at what I'm recognizing here. This goes a little more neutral, almost violet-y. So I'm going to do something I wasn't even planning on. Let's get some violet here. Now, what can you say about the side of the car? You know what? Maybe you can't say, so meh, it looks kind of gray. So let's just do a bit of gray. But you know what? I kind of recognize here there's a bit of coolness where the sky is reflected. So maybe for that one bit I do recognize, let's add some coolness. You know what? I'm trained enough to actually notice the lower part reflects the ground a bit, so then it goes a little warmer. So actually, let's go a little warmer, right? So you see some parts I can tell, some parts I can't really tell, and that is okay, right? The idea is think in simple terms. Is it warm? Is it cool? Forget about the exact color. It's so boring to just paint reality exactly as you see it. It's so boring. I know many of you can relate. Now down here it goes dark. It actually looks kind of gray. The inside of the tire, usually a silver color, tends to be a little cooler in shadow. So let's go for a bit of coolness here. Even whether we're right or wrong doesn't matter. What matters more often is the conviction in how you paint, right? And if you're looking for that conviction, one thing you definitely want to look into is the frustration-free watercolor course. I'm going to put a link below if you're looking to be free in your watercolors, to finally break free, not be bound by what you see and try to mercilessly try and imitate it and just lose all the fun, right? Where's the fun? Okay, now check this out. What is the taillight? What color is that? That's probably one of the easiest ones, right? This is a clear red. So look, I'm fine with putting the red as it is, or I'm fine with it mixing a bit with my mix to make it a little more organic feeling. But whatever it is, it's gonna work, right? There's a white gap, you could leave that if you want. It's actually not white, it's gray, don't tell anyone. But in any case, here's our red, simple terms. Don't overcomplicate it, right? The result is often a function of how in tune you are with your vision. Because even if your technique is lacking, if your vision is good, you recognize things that no one else does, and you notice things that are very interesting in the reference, and you just kind of place them in, like, okay, I'm going to use the same black here to establish some of these shadows. Why? I don't know, my experience tells me just go for it, right? But the reason I'm able to be at a point where I have this experience to just tell me, yeah, do it this way or try it that way, the reason I'm there is that conviction over years of just allowing myself to paint the way I see fit and just kind of let things work. I'm going to ignore, by the way, everything around the car. I don't care really about the ground, about anything. I'm just going to do this kind of extension and let it go. And to contrast with the warms, let's just place a cool there, okay? So here we are. This is not a white, this is a cool. That's it. Now, does it feel stuck at some point? You want to set it loose, just come back with some water, break through here, and you're good. Now, you're looking at this thing and you're like, what is going on? Very simple. The next step, we're going to fix everything. But notice one thing, and I'm going to stand up for this one. Notice how much soul it has. Notice how much it's a watercolor, right? And if you see all of these stale pieces that people paint every tree branch, it has no soul. It is boring. It is overworked. The colors are boring. Look at how dynamic and fun the colors are when you're just, I'm not going to try and match this exact green I'm seeing or this exact yellow. I'm just going to place something there, okay? And I want to show you in the next step a very simple way of turning this into a final piece. Very simple. And we can utilize a lot of concepts that oil painters use, actually. So while we're letting this dry, I have to promote the frustration-free watercolor course. I'm going to put a link in the description box below. Check it out if you've been on the fence for a while. If you're not sure if this is for you, this is for complete beginners as well as intermediates. If you feel like you're stuck, you're just stuck, you get stale results, they don't move, the colors look off, the colors look awkward, just imagine how fun it will be to finally paint something that feels like you. Okay, just imagine that, and imagine I can do that at any given moment. Right? Any given moment, I can just crank out something that is fun and freeing. Even if the result isn't really perfect, I had fun. I was fully immersed in the process. And look at how much fun I'm having here while I'm filming. Just imagine when I'm not filming and I'm just there for myself and I'm even more immersed in the process. Just imagine that feeling. If you want to experience a sliver of that feeling, and I think if you experience a sliver of that feeling, you lived a life worth living. Check it out. I'm going to put a link in the description box below. And by the way, if you want something more advanced, I'm going to launch a new product soon. Keep an eye out for that. Finally, I'm giving you more access to learn from me directly. It's going to be interesting. Okay, just have a mental note. Liron's launching something new, something big, something people have been waiting for a while now. Let's let this dry for a couple more moments and wrap it up. So look, things are mostly dry now, and we're going to keep it so simple you wouldn't believe it. What do oil painters often do? They map out the darks. So what they actually do is they look at the darkest darks and they paint them as dark as they can. What this does is almost like painting monochromatically. It makes your decision-making process much easier because you know this is a shape, I'm painting that shape. So let me show you how I'm going to do this here. I'm looking for those dark shapes. And I'm seeing one very clearly right around here. Check it out. It goes like this, moves down and beautifully contrasts with the tail light, and it goes back up. I even painted over the logo. That does not matter. Another dark shape, look at this. there's a bit of a shadow. And now we didn't even put the mid values in. We just put the dark shapes in, okay? That's what's so cool about it. You don't yet even have to put the mid values. We're just making this make more sense. Now that I look at it, my perspective, funny enough, is a little off. So let's fix that. Okay, a little better. Now check it out. This is kind of darker. So let's establish this as a dark. And what else am I seeing here? I think the area, and notice I'm like 80% black and then 20% the rest of the colors, where everyone get the use of black color wrong. They all think it's forbidden, it's some kind of a taboo. You can use black paint as much as you want. The only stipulation, if you will, is if you want it to relate to your other colors in a way that is just fantastic, what do you have to do? Pop quiz. If you want a color to relate to the other colors that you're using, what must you do to ensure that? How can you do that? I'm waiting for an answer, okay? I'm gonna give you a couple of more moments to think about it, and then I'm gonna give it to you. So very simply, what you want to do is mix it with the other colors. The more you mix it with the other colors, the more it will feel like an inherent part of the other colors. It's as simple as that. Okay, so we're establishing some darks here, right? And it almost looks like we're mapping things. It's like a map, right? It's super simple. Here we have the antenna too. It's super simple. We have even some reflections here. But to truly give this the final impact, we're gonna put in the mid values. So to me, if we really want to keep it simple, this entire left side is in the shadow, and with the rest of the car, we can kind of leave it as is in a way, funny enough. So let's mix something that is not fully black, but dark. We need it to be dark, okay? Because we still need it to show and be significantly different from our lights. That's the key part here. So I think we're getting to the ballpark. And it's pretty great too, because there are areas that are warmer, areas that are cooler. So let's go for it and see what happens, right? Something I like doing often is just going for it and seeing what happens. So I'm gonna paint this dark, and guess what? I'm gonna paint around the tail light. I'm gonna leave the tail light a little lighter because I want to show that kind of a thing. And notice I'm disregarding, you know, flow, whether something is dry or still wet. Doesn't matter, really does not. Barely seeing, by the way, the details because of the sheen, but there we go. That's good, that's good. That is good. And then if you want to add some touches where it looks darker, just go ahead and add these wet and wet, or however you want with your preferred technique. Now, one interesting thing I'm noticing here is that this side of the window, the back window, kind of is darker. So let's start with a dark, but very carefully switch right back to a light for the part where the sky is a little more visible. And just look at what we have here. Isn't this fantastic? Isn't this just beautiful? Can you tell what you're looking at? Does it feel kind of believable, right? Of course, it's not hyper realistic or anything like that, but does it feel believable? Let me actually fix the composition, the perspective live as we speak. It's the simplest thing ever. Just stretch this area a bit more, make this tire a little lower, skew the whole thing a bit, because I have experience with perspective. It will come with time for you too. Now, again, does this feel like my painting? Does this feel like I made this? Right, it has that quality, it's uniquely mine. We didn't even add contrast here to the top of the car to make this lighter than the environment. We didn't do anything, right? If you want to, we could also add just this little stripe to place us into the perspective of the scene, to show there's like a curved sidewalk, whatever it is there. We barely did anything. In fact, if we just add a couple of touches of white and light, we're golden. In fact, let me use the good old opaque paint to do this, and the good old Lebenson brush. Any of his rigger brushes are fantastic. If you do end up purchasing one, use my coupon code. I think it should be Liron, but test it out. Make sure before you'll get a nice discount on your order. I absolutely love Lebenson brushes. They're great, very ergonomic. That's the thing you want to pay attention to, right? Some people complain about wrist pain, shoulder pain. The ergonomic nature of them, check it out, is amazing here. You can see it better here, right? Super ergonomic. So I see this little stripe here that goes up and then kind of parallel to our other lines. That's one. And again, look at how abstract we're keeping things, right? It's barely noticeable. We have a bit of a, see, just a bit of a. I'm not even gonna say what it is because it's just a bit of a. Here we also have a bit of a. And again, think visual ideas, right? It doesn't matter that this shape is like a triangle and you have to really match every little thing you're seeing there. How uninspiring is that? How boring is that? How bored do you get when you have to paint like a replica of what you're seeing? And you fail at that too, so what was the point, right? You just fail when you do that. Never works. Never works as a replica. The logo for the car, as simple as that. We have a bit of a nice little reflection of the light here. And one of my favorite parts is going to be this tail light. Just give it a bit of life. This can be a little, see, it can fade a bit, right? A bit of it here maybe. Oh yeah, there's a bit of it dips and comes back up actually here, which is interesting. The other side, the other tail light, you can kind of equalize that. There's a bit of a, you know, a door handle. There's a bit of a tire kind of thing here going on for the details. You can move that around a bit, give it a bit of, can you see how the conviction, because I'm not accurate, right? I'm not being accurate here. You don't see me obsessing over getting the perfect shape at any point, right? Now, some of it is experience with using the brush, but I think more than the ability to portray things accurately, it's the ability to do you, to paint your own vision, and to do it very freely, because freedom will provide you whatever you want. Realism, abstract, interpretational, I forget my art terms, right? Representational, whatever you want, you will get by freedom. Even the most hyper accurate paintings, if not done with freedom, you can tell. You can tell. I can tell it with my students too. And one of the biggest shifts my students see is painting with more freedom, especially the one-on-ones, by the way. Just painting with freedom. That's the main thing, okay? Now, if this sounds good to you, all you have to do is scroll down to the description box, find the link to the frustration-free watercolor course, and join. If you're already there, scroll a bit more, find the link to the watercolor realism course. It will teach you everything you need to get a realistic result, right? And look at this. This is realistic as a byproduct. That's the coolest part, right? I didn't aim for realism, but it has that quality to it. By the way, let me sign this as we kind of get close to wrapping it up. It has that quality to it because I followed my vision, and my vision is more towards the realism. It is what I try to express with my art, and because I'm free, I was able to freely express that. And if you got both courses, the frustration-free watercolor course and the watercolor realism course, do me a favor, there's going to be a link to get your paintings critiqued by me. Look, if you're ready to take things to the next level and you need specific feedback on your paintings, right? Check it out. I'm going to put a link below to my critique service, feedback service, call it however you want. Get your paintings critiqued. It will start one of the most important things for growth, and that is a feedback loop. You can create your own feedback loop, right? But you can use my knowledge and my experience, someone who's maybe more advanced than you, whether it's me or, by the way, anyone else who has that service, to leapfrog, is that the term? Just save years of trial and error. Get the result you want in 6 months instead of 6 years, in 3 months. You can, sometimes the very next painting you paint incorporates everything. I've seen it. People send me paintings for a critique. I give them notes and they're like, oh my goodness, it was so obvious. The mistakes I was making were so darn obvious. They send me the next painting, it's 100 times better. So you can achieve your goals. You can get whatever you want. You can get the paintings you want and you can win awards, submit to exhibitions, jury shows. You can get whatever you want, okay? So if you're ready to take that leap, check it out. It's not a big commitment. All you have to do is send me 3 paintings, get them reviewed. It's super duper simple. You get a critique, you get a video, around 30 minutes long, something like that, where I point out like a nerd everything I'm seeing. And I've been getting from advanced students, from beginners, everyone Everyone has an aha moment, because when someone else looks at your work, it's aha. And you know me, I'm not the kind of, yeah, you need more freedom and looseness. No, I'm specific. I'm being specific. The way you use the values is inaccurate. The way you use your colors, I can tell that you're aiming for one thing, but you're totally messing it up. The way, by the way, what's to preserve? Sometimes that's even more important. What to preserve about your art. That can be even more important, because you want to maintain that uniqueness. When you're completely free, how do you paint? That's what you want, right? The other things is more like you absorb like a sponge. You're looking at different people paint, and whatever you love, you take. Whatever you don't, you discard automatically without thinking about it, because you have freedom. That's the basis for it all. So in any case, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope to work with you. Hit the links in the description box and leave a comment below and let me know what was your biggest takeaway from this video. It will help cement that insight. We'll talk to you soon. By the way, lastly, before I forget, thank you to everyone. I was going for that end line. Thank you to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. If you want to receive credits at the end of the videos, check it out. Link in the description box below. We'll talk to you soon.